Hello everyone, my name is Mahati. Let's start our presentation. Hello everyone, today I am presenting a critical analysis of the children's book called Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love. This book beautifully explores themes of gender expression, self identity, and family acceptance within a Latin cultural context. Today I will examining how it challenges stereotypes and promotes social justice, drawing on theories like intersectionality, anti-bias education, and social justice. I will discuss its impact on children's identities and suggest pedagogical strategies for inclusive early childhood practice. Let's discuss about book overview. Julian is a mermaid follows a young boy named Julian who lives with his abuela. Abuela means grandmother in Latin language. On a subway ride, he sees glamorous women dressed as mermaids and become enchanted, dreaming of transforming into one himself. Back home, while Abuela is out, he creatively dresses up using a curtain as a tail and a fan as hair and makeup. When Abula returns, instead of disapproval, she gives him a necklace and led him to the real life Conway Island Mermaid Parade. When he joins a celebration of diverse expressions, the book's watercolor illustrations are vibrant, carry the message of unconditional love and self acceptance. This sets the stage for discussing diversity in early childhood settings. The main theme of the book is gender equality, self expression, and cultural identity. Let's talk about representation of culture and diversity. In terms of representation of culture and diversity, the book centers Julian's perspective as a gender non conforming child, making his imaginative world feel authentic and empowering. It beautifully portrays Latin culture, think the warmth of Abula's home, Spanish words woven in, and the vibrant mermaid parade. Different groups are shown positively, diverse families, various body shapes, and fluid gender expressions in the parade. However, while it celebrates cultural pride, it magnifies border intersections like class or ability, focusing mainly on gender and ethnicity. This inclusive lens helps children from similar backgrounds to see themselves reflected, fostering a sense of belonging. As Kennedy points out, such representations are vital in early childhood education to encounter inequalities embraced by events like paramedics, ensuring all voices are heard. Now let's talk about bias, prejudice, and stereotypes. This book actively disrupts stereotypes, especially around gender. Traditionally, mermaids are for girls, but Julian's story flips that. His dressing up is portrayed as creative and beautiful, not something to mock. The imaginary with floating tails and planned headdresses reinforces fluidity without judgment, and the narrative avoids negative language, focusing on wonder instead. Children might take away that it's okay to explore identities beyond norms, helping combat prejudice. For example, Abela's silent approval speaks volumes, showing family support can encounter social bias. This story portrays self expression as usual, not mocked, and the minimal text highlights the image. Children learn that authenticity is valued, which reduces bias against non traditional gender roles. Now let's discuss about opportunities for equity and inclusion. This book opens door for equity by depicting inclusion as everyday. Julian's parade participation symbolizes border acceptance where differences are celebrated. It supports learning experience that value diversity like group discussions on self-expression. However, it bravely might limit deeper exploration of real-world challenges such as prejudice outside family bubbles. Still, it does not reinforce exclusion. Instead, it models how equity looks in action. Children could engage in role play inspired by it, building inclusive mod sets. Promotes inclusive experiences by normalizing diverse identities, and the parade scene shows community belonging. It fosters equitable learning by inviting all children to relate to Julian's journey in the book. It supports learning experiences that value diversity like group discussion, self-expression. In line with social justice, this text bridges gaps, urges educators to use such stories to address inequalities for marginalized groups in Australia. Let's talk about strength based approaches. Julian is a mermaid book shines in strength based approaches. It views Julian not as different in a negative way but as imaginative and bold. His family and community are shown as assets. Abula quiet encouragement builds on relational strength while the parade celebrates collective joy. This avoids pity or fixing, instead, amplifying positives like cultural pride and self determination. For early childhood, it models seeing children, families, communities through their capabilities, as discussed in intersectional education, where multiple identities intersect to reveal strength. Noticing social justice in ECE means highlighting resilience in groups like aboriginal communities during crisis. Overall, the book empowers by focusing on what thrives, not lacks. Abola celebrates child imagination and represents the community strength in fostering identity. It highlights cultural vibrancy as inspiring and promotes positive attitudes. Now let's talk about pedagogical application. Educators can use this book to promote cultural responsiveness by reading it aloud and facilitating discussions like how does Julian feel supported to foster empathy. Activities such as children designing their own mermaid costumes from recyclables serve as inclusive, evidence based extensions. This approach aligns with EYLF principles that emphasize respecting diversity and promoting equity, and with NQS Quality Area 6, which encourages family partnerships through parent storytelling. The uh, the Australian government advocates gender equity practices in early childhood to change bias. It highlights the educator efforts in social justice involve employing tests like this to develop inclusive pedagogy and build socially just environments where all children feel valued. Use for storytelling discussions on who can be a mermaid to encourage cultural sharing. Role play activities that imaginative with art and self portraits or identify exploration. It links to EYLF principles that emphasizing respect and diversity and equity, and it also linked to a national quality standards of quality area 6 for family partnerships, inviting partner parents to share cultural stories. Now let's discuss about theoretical integration intersectionality. This book analyzes the intersections of gender, ethnicity, and age in Julian's identity. Julian's story intersects gender expression with his Afro-Latin cultural and use, showing how these layers influence acceptance. It demonstrates how multiple identities influence experiences and challenge narrow-minded perspectives. Now let's talk about theoretical integration, anti-bias and social justice. Anti-bias education involves actively challenging prejudice, exemplified by normalizing gender fluidity. Social justice frameworks expand on this by promoting fair access and dignity. It discusses in the context of Australian challenges and paramedics. Uh, Anti-bias education promote challenging stereotypes. Social justice frameworks promote equity and participation. These theories evaluate the text role in shaping inclusive identities. Collectively, these theories assess how the text helps shape inclusive identities and suggest that educators employ it to foster just pedagogy. Anti-bias education involves actively confronting prejudice. Let's conclude. The book effectively challenges stereotypes and encourages inclusion with a strength based story. It supports children's identities and encourages educators to promote social justice. It integrates into curricula for ongoing anti-biases work. Educators can incorporate into responsive teaching practices, connecting to the EYLF and national quality standard frameworks. Thank you for listening this presentation.